and I'm back to you. So let me see if I can, because I'm still trying to get used to all this. So let me here look for myself, take out the volume. I will disconnect this thing. Okay. Let me see if I'm here. Yes. Since I'm live. Okay. So I'm just trying to set up. Sorry for that. It seems everything is working nicely. So here I am with a new live with Victor. And this time I'm going to do a little bit of batch painting. I'm painting these ladies. Okay. So this is the Sisters of Battle. I'm painting a full squad. I do a combination of batch painting and individual painting. So I have done some that they are, let me see if I can show you. Okay. This is some that I already paint. I don't know why I have so many reflections. Yeah, having so much light. I will move the camera a little bit down so you can see what I'm painting, what I'm doing. Okay, I think this is going to be more interesting. And yeah, please, this is a place to chat, to talk, all of us, about the hobby that we like. And I will also talk about the news from Warhammer Underworlds. I'm just now putting on my phone also the live so I can see how it's going. Because yeah, it's not easy to get used to all this. So just give me a minute. I will put here the YouTube. Okay. Yeah, you always need some time to set up this. Okay. So thanks a lot to the people that is already here connecting with me. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that the people connects and watching my videos. Please don't hesitate to say hello if you want to say hello, and let me know if you have any question. Okay, any question that you would like me to cover during this live video. So I will take I need this to paint. Okay, so I will start painting. I will start chatting a little bit, and then I will do some speculation about Warhammer Underworlds, especially with the news on the new. We have seen some reveals. So for me, it's one of the most important things on the news that we have get from Games Workshop uh, this weekend, right? So yeah. Um, Let me first talk about a little bit update on the channel, how we are going. So if you follow my channel, you know that I'm painting this guy. Okay, so you can see the main body is done. Okay, I hope you can see this nicely. Okay, see this. So I have done the zebra pattern on the helmet. I have done the crest. The crest is still not finished. And yeah, and here you can see as well how looks like the main torso paint job, right? So I still have here the parts that have to be glued. Okay, the guitar and the two arms. Normally, especially when the weapon is crossing the torso, I like to paint them individually. Say that it's not looking well. So let me see if I can clean up a little bit the camera. Just strange because I just cleaned up the camera and sorry, see if it's no better. Yeah, it seems that no, it's much better. Okay, so let's see if this is improving. Thank you for letting me know that the camera was a little bit blurry. Okay, I think now it's much better. So let me show you again. So you can see here the paint job on the I'm doing. So I have done the second part. Tomorrow I will put the second part in the channel. So you will be able to enjoy this one. It's going to be a long tutorial. Okay. And I will really dedicate time to this one. The other thing I'm painting now, well, if you have, in case you have not seen, I have put the tutorial last week on how to do this type of bases. I think that was, yeah, I just put it last week. And what I'm going to put next week in the weekly painting is I'm going to paint, it's not finished, I just put the base coat, but I will explain how to paint faces of the Sisters of Battle. Okay, like this one. So the objective, this is the, so yeah, I know that this one have the helmet, but this is how I try to do the faces. Okay, let me see if I can focus. Okay, so this is quite covered. I have done this one, and as well, I have the heavy flamer painted. Hi, Dave. Thanks a lot for joining here on this painting chat. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to make me the question. So I'm here to just to interact with you, to answer the questions that you have, and really to enjoy painting more or less for 1 hour here, like if we were painting one next to each other. I will do today a little bit of batch painting, as I said at the beginning. I'm painting the 10 Sisters of Battle, so now it's 8. And normally what I do is I try to do a combination of batch painting and individual painting, okay? So this is the next one that is going to be painted, but what I'm going to do now, I put a lot of blue. I'm doing the tabards of all of them. So how I'm doing these Sisters of Battle? These ones, as the tabard is quite difficult to have access once it's assembled, okay, because the miniature, it's, what I do is I just put it, these ones with glue tack on the base, okay, I will, and then what I also glue tack the head, so I can remove the head, okay, put it there, I have, and then I will remove all the glue tack from here, okay. Normally, yeah, the glue tack, you have to go carefully and try to avoid that you leave residue of it. Okay, all the glue tack is out. I will put it in the base. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the tabard, because now it's much easier to have access, right? So I can put it upside down, and especially the inside. So I will do the tabard, I will do the armor legs, and then once the legs are done, I will glue it on the base and I will do the base. So this is a process I'm following for the Sisters of Battle because it's the easiest way for me to paint. So it's easy access. You can come from the bottom, because normally this cannot be done if it's on the base, right? You cannot come from this side. So, but while this is not glued, so you can really access much easily. Okay. So this is why I know that some people prefer not to do in a sub-assembly. Some people prefer the sub-assemblies. I understand this is up to everyone what you want to do. I like to do a combination, right? In that case, I really like to study how the miniature will look like once it's assembled, and try to make what is easier to have access to the different parts painted with a compromise. The Sisters of Battle have a little bit of a pain because you have a very small parts, right? And you have to be careful. For example, this part of the arm that I have it here because yeah, before gluing the, but then you can see one arm is glued, but the other arm I have to wait to glue it together with the rest of the weapon. So this is why normally it's a compromise on how much I want to assemble and how much I leave unassembled. I don't like to paint with the weapons crossing front of the body, because I consider that it's the body is going to be visible, and you will have difficulties to have access to this part. Okay, in that case, I will not complicate too much my life on doing the shading and the painting inside of the tabards or these pieces of clothes. I just will put this paint, and I will do the armor with the shading. Okay, I will not complicate too much my life because it's going to be a part of the method. It's not going to be super visible once it's assembled. Okay, so as far as you have a solid blue, it's going to be good enough for the piece of cloth. But for and for the legs, you want to have the basic color plus a wash. I will not do the highlights on not on all the parts. I will do just the highlights on the most visible parts. I'm using quite a big brush, and I will show you which paint I'm using because I think it's something that it's nice to mention, especially for the people who have been long in the hobby. I'm wondering if you will recognize the brand. It's so this is the paint I'm using. Okay, you can see that it's Citadel color. So this is a paint from the 90s. This is I have it for a long time. I have more of this blue. I don't know why I have a lot of these blue pots. So this is a pot that have 30 years, more or less, 25 at least. The only problem you have is that you can see that the plastic is breaking. The plastic becomes brittle. So I need to look for a pot to put it. But the paint, it's in premium state. So it's really fluent. I did not have to dilute. Okay, yes, it's a very old school. And hi, Badger, and thanks a lot for passing by. Hi for joining here. Yeah, I have a lot. I have more of these very old paints. Look, this is a little bit dusty as well. But I have these metallics. They don't do these metallics anymore. Okay, this is especially for my noise marines. Not for this one, but this was the driving color of my noise marines. So, yeah, I think these were the best pots from Games Workshop. Then they went to the horrible pots. I think these ones I cannot rescue anymore. I still have some here, but I need to throw them away because you cannot take any paint from this. These ones are completely dry. Okay, so this I can throw it away. And then I have even the previous ones to these ones that these pots were even worse. And I don't think I can rescue. No, this is impossible to. So I don't think I have anything. But I still have some of the old school paints that, for me, they were the best paints from Citadel. Okay, and you can see I'm using this paint, so you will see that it flows. It's difficult to do it here, but it flows very nicely. Okay, it flows really nice. Well, of course, you have to stir it very well because otherwise a little bit the pigment was a little bit separated from the medium, so it was accumulated at the bottom. But I'm surprised. I just opened the pot, stir very well with a stick. Okay, I use an old brush that you don't want it anymore, and I use the same brush that I'm using to put the paint from the pot to the palette. And by doing that, I just have a very nice deep blue. You have, hi, your painting videos have been very helpful to me. I only just started in the hobby last year. Oh, welcome to the hobby. I'm very glad that my video paintings are helping to you. And please, if you have anything that you would like me to go and review, let me know in the comments so I can do it in one of these weekly videos. I can really cover one of the idea is to cover points that can be of interest of the people that needs to start. So really the idea of the weekly paint, it's mainly to do to make tips and to share different ideas on painting, to do the ideas to make short tutorials or short tips of I try to do it in less than 15 minutes, all of them, although some are longer because I wanted to do some more detailed work. If you were not at the beginning, so this week I will cover feminine faces, so how to do woman faces in a way that they don't look with a lot of makeup, right? I don't want to put red lips or something like that. I want to look more or less. I don't think that Sisters of Battle will go with makeup to the battle, right? So I will try to make them look quite natural. So yeah, no, but welcome to the hobby. I want to say that yeah, these paints were really good. Some of them, the yellow on this period, were not covering very well. The gold was quite bad, but the pot it was much better. So then they changed the pot and they make a step back on the quality of the pots. The paints were drying, so it was quite a bad design. I would say the design of today is not perfect, but it's quite okay. Okay. I mean, but you have to keep. I will say, if you want to keep your paints lasting for long now, one thing. Let me just put this back to. What I do is that you see, I go with glue tack and now I put it back to the base. Okay, and then it can stand. So one thing that you have to do, and sometimes I don't do it as much as I should. Okay, is to this is one that is not good. You have to avoid this here in the pot. Okay, the paint here in this area, because this is what is causing that the pot is not closing perfectly. Okay, so the best the thing that I will do it here in camera before stirring. Okay, before shaking the paint, you can remove the cap. I'm looking for a tool to help me to do the work. Okay, just one moment. Here it is. This one is better. Okay. I use this one. Okay, you can see I did not clean it from the last time. So okay, so you remove completely the cap like that. Now it's very easy to have access to this part. So I go with the. Don't do it with a knife because you can cut yourself. Okay, do it with something that if it's like slippery, it's not hurting yourself. Don't put too much force, and then slowly you remove this excess of paint from here. Okay, like that. Cleaned quite well. Okay, and now you put it back. And it's closing perfectly. Okay, so the other thing, if you see that it's a little bit thick, put 3-4 droplets of water inside, shake it well. The paint will last much longer. So I highly recommend to do that on the intrusive pots. Even when they are new, sometimes you put a couple of droplets of water to thin it down, because sometimes I was in the past I was taking the paint from the pot, so it was diluting it. So yeah, it's because if you don't do that, these paints they will dry. Okay, and then yeah, you will lose the paint. This one is going to be very tricky. So let me remove. You can see to prime it, I put everything with glue tack, but now I can remove the backpack and I can remove the head. In that case, I glued all the other parts because they were, yeah, they were not in the way of the painting. Now with the tool, the same tool I used before, carefully remove the glue tack. Okay, and I will do it here. That's all, and then the back, the glue tack this here a little bit, so I will remove as well the glue tag. This is a way, if you want to use a miniature before painting, it's a way to put all the parts together, and then, okay, and now I'm removing the glue tag from the backpack as well. Okay, this one, it's a good example. So this is the one, this is what I was telling when I do the sub-assemblies. It depends a lot on how the miniature looks like. In that case, yeah, it was impossible not to put this part, the back bolter, because for the construction, okay? And it's also paint, because it's going to be very difficult to have access to the inside, because we have this rock here at the bottom that is part of the miniature. But I did not glue it anyway to the base. And to be fair, if I cannot access perfectly inside, it's going to be dark and it's not going to be visible at the end. So what I will do is I will go with the blue as much as I can inside. The advantage is that because I did not glue it on the base, I can have access from the bottom. I still have access from the bottom, and because this part there, it will be very difficult with the base on it. Okay, so this way I wanted to sub-assemble this, not to glue it on the base, especially when you have these long tabars. Not always is possible. It depends a lot how it's assembled and how it goes. But I will say, if you can do it, I highly recommend to do that. Okay, and now I have much easier access to the inside of these ropes. But at the end, they're going to be visible. Okay, so, but you don't need to do the tents. I'm just doing that to be able to put the blue paint in a easy way. Okay, the front is going to be much tricky because we have the rock and we have the problem, right, that you cannot have access. So I'm dirtying now the wood by mistake. This is the difficult part, right? So now that, yeah, we are 7, no? Oh, thanks a lot for joining. So let me talk a little bit, and then I will come back to the painting chat. Let me talk a little bit about the Warhammer Underworlds. So we have seen the reveals for the next warbands. Okay, we know that the box. I'm expecting that the box will be in pre-order next week. Okay, because there is a lot of there was the document in Warhammer community about the next warbands in Warhammer Underworlds. So this is making me guess that tomorrow we are going to see that it will be in pre-order next week. Maybe I'm just guessing. But for me, what's interesting is to see the roadmap. I like a lot these files that they put the roadmap, just telling you what is immediate and just leave you guessing what will come next, right? I think it's a nice thing. It's more interesting for me than the, how it's called this, the picture that they put, I never remember the weekly picture, the one that you have to guess which miniature will be, that it's impossible to guess. But these ones are more interesting for me, the ones that they show you the roadmap. So we see that for Warhammer Underworlds, we're going to have Lumineth and Slaanesh at launch. Okay, we know the next warband is going to be the Chaos Slave to Darkness. Okay, the generic Chaos, and very nice warband. I think one of the best up to now. And I will paint it on the channel. I'm still wondering if I will paint it in the same colors, the black armor, or if I will go for my own color scheme. So maybe I can leave this both open. And then the next one are going to be the Seraphon. But they also have shared the icons, okay, and I will put it here in my phone, just one moment. They have shared the icons for the next warband, okay? And the next one is something, and they have shown the silhouette on the next one. The next one looks like we are going to have a vampires warband, because the symbol is like a, what's called this, a bat. Okay, is for sure it's going to be on the Death Faction. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be in the Death Faction, and does not look like an Ossiarch. Okay, the silhouette. For me, it looks like more a female, looking like. For a moment, it looks like a little bit witch elf, but the witch elf are already out. So my guessing here is that we are going to have a vampire warband. Okay, this is going to be the death warband for the next one. Then the next one after the vampire, it's a hi Sword and Steel. Thanks a lot for passing by. Very glad that you can join us. Yeah, painting some Sisters of Battle. Okay, I'm trying to do a little bit of batch painting because it's easy for me to paint and talk. Okay. So the next warband is going to be orcs, and I guess it's going to be Savage orcs for what I see in the on the icon. The next one is the one that is keeping me guessing. Okay, the next one is a blue and have a wheel like tentacles. Okay, and I'm thinking if it's blue with the wheel and tentacles, that it looks like me. That is going to be, I think it's going to be Cities of Sigmar, because this dark blue, is only being used by the Stormcast Eternals up to now in all the iconography. So the three warbands have the same blue. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be Cities of, I'm not sure, but I think this is going to be Cities of Sigmar. And I'm wondering if it's going to be Avingald, because these tentacles plus the wheel can look like the Avingald shield. And the last one I think is Edonet. This type of swirling is very, very, very Edonet. So yeah, I think I fell only on the Osiarchs and the Chaos. The Chaos I was expecting maybe I was hesitating between Slaves to Darkness or Skaven will come, so they come with the Slaves to Darkness. I think it's a good choice. I was not expecting the vampires, so I was expecting Osiarchs. So I think this is the one that I was not into. And yeah, and I'm wondering if the Cities of Sigmar will have Stormcast Eternals or not. So let's see. But the Cities of Sigmar can have as well Stormcast Eternals inside. So yeah. Let's do so. That's, you can see I have here. They are almost dry. And now I will paint the legs on them. Okay, as I said, I don't glue it on the base because now I can have access to the legs much easier than if you have to go through the tabard and so on. So I will put some. I'm using Flake One Flesh as a base color for my armor, for the cream armor of my Sister of Battle. Okay, I put some here. I put quantity, and because it's a little bit too thick, I will take water from here. So normally, I always, one thing I have, you can see I have two pots. Okay, so this is the pot with the dirty water. Okay, if you want to wash very well the brush, I do it first in the dirty water, I clean it, and then I go on the clean water and I clean it again. Okay, this clean water is also used to dilute the paint. Okay, now I will take a more detailed brush. Here I have a question. Hey Victor, which part of Spain did you get hooked on the hobby in? Okay, so I'm from Barcelona. Okay, I was, yeah, and I get hooked with my friends when I was living not in Barcelona city. I was living next to, but of course, but I will say that if I in the Barcelona region, I was living in a village called Sardanyola that is about 20 kilometers from Barcelona. But this is where I started playing, okay, with friends. Especially during the summer holidays that are very long in Spain. The summer holidays in Spain are almost 3 months. So I start painting. We start playing first role games, and then we jump to Warhammer. We start with BattleTech first, and then we change to Warhammer. And yeah, and this is where I start painting. It was in Barcelona. Then I moved to Belgium, and and I'm living in Belgium now for almost 10 years. It's going to be so in Brussels. And I see I have two 5-liter plastic jugs because if you use okay, I have been using plastic glass jars for a long time. I think this one has been for me too long. I don't know because I was not living in Barcelona city, to be fair. So normally I was going directly. I was playing in at home of my friends, and the shop where I was buying at the beginning was called was a official Games Workshop store that was not far from the downtown in Barcelona. So I was going when I was buying mainly on official Games Workshop stores. Then my mother opened a shop in Sabadell. Okay, that was a village 20 kilometers from Barcelona because it's a town of more than 200,000 inhabitants, but it's also a very commercial town. So all the surrounding villages, all the people from surrounding villages goes to this town for shopping. So we opened there a shop, and we had called Ludo Hobbies, and this shop was open for about I think was 7 years until my mother decided to close because I was studying physics, and I decided to go for. I was not in the at the moment. I was not dedicating my time to manage a shop, and my brother did not want to manage the shop neither. And yeah, and to be fair, it did not work very well economically for the family. So at the end, we decided to shut down the shop. So this way, I also have a lot of miniatures, all miniatures, because when we try to sell everything that we can, but some miniatures end up in my pile of shame. Okay. Triangular Fiki to our non-Spanish friends is a triangular zone in the center of Barcelona where all the hobby and game shops are. Okay, I was not aware, even from being from Barcelona, I was not because I think because I was not in Barcelona city and I was not going there. I was more on then I was buying on a local shop that was out of Barcelona at the end that was in Sardanyola, where I was playing and buying. Okay, but I know that it's quite powerful now Barcelona in terms of hobbyist. Yeah, I would love to go to when I have time next time. I would love to visit some of these shops and in Barcelona because it's. But yeah, now with the COVID, I will need to wait. Okay, now it's more tricky because I am doing the shoes. So what I will do is I will just let them rest flat on the table. Okay, so let's put it there flat. Let's do the next one. Okay, I will need to remove the glue tag from here. I will put it in this part. Normally the glue tag can be reused sometimes until it's too dirty. Yeah, I follow them. I follow the Grumpies, and I also follow and Darth Grumpy is also in the Malaga War Games channel. So, and then I follow another one that is Juegos y Dados. He's also from Barcelona, I think. So I follow English speaking and Spanish speaking channels. And normally, the other thing I'm doing when I'm painting, okay, is the moment where I put YouTube. Okay, it's my moment. Painting for me is the disconnection moment, right? It's when you disconnect from the rest of the world, and then you start painting, and you have your own moment. So I try to be completely disconnected when I'm doing so. The other thing I do is if I'm not filming videos, because a lot of time I need to stop the videos because I'm filming my own video and I'm doing the tutorials. So, but if I'm not doing tutorials, what I try to do is I have YouTube channels. Okay, and here we had Sword and Steel. That is one of the channels I'm following. I started watching her when she was doing the Warcry battle report, but now she's doing several stuff that is also interesting to me. And then in Spanish, I follow Malaga War Games, Juegos y Dados, and yeah, I was following Puño de Combate, that they are also from Barcelona, and I don't know what happened to them. I think they stopped doing videos. So yeah, no, you're welcome. So so if you are not subscribed to Sword and Steel, I would recommend it. Okay, she covers a lot of different things, and it's also interesting. Of course, I follow, and then in English, I follow, well, as I said, Sword and Steel. I follow Eric Beer, and then yeah, the typical mini wargaming and online gaming, and what is the? I used to follow. Well, I still following Fritz 40K, but no, I think she's not too much into 40K since he had the problem with YouTube. And then yeah, a coach called this Tabletop Tactics, and several. So I just have a long list of things that I follow. So this sometimes I watch. Yeah, I cannot watch all of them. So I just I like to jump from channel to channel, but yeah, these are the ones I mentioned are the ones that I watch the most. Okay. So and I think one of the things I would like to do maybe next year is to collaborate more with other channels. I will try to keep this live every Saturday. Yeah, okay. So I see Dave is also subscribed to Sword and Steel and Eric Beer. Yeah, and all his gang. Yes. I'm doing dishes and cooking at late super while watching you right now. Okay. What you are in? What time is in Canada now? Then it's what is the time difference? Is 6-7 hours? Yeah. Well, to be fair, one thing I did, I don't have any more regular TV at home. I only have my smart TV where I use it only to watch Netflix and YouTube. Okay. And I stopped watching nearly 8 p.m. here. So and here it's 12:30. So nearly so you mean that is 4. So it's 4 hours. It's 4 hours difference. 5 hours difference. Okay. Yeah, 8 p.m. is late for a super or for dinner in most of the countries except in Spain. In Spain, normally the dinner time is 10 o'clock in the night. So before, when the restaurants were open, normally when you are going to do a dinner in a restaurant, you meet around 10:30 to start dinner at 11. Or you can, if you go very early, you start and you start meeting at 9, and then you can start having dinner at 9:30, 10. But this is quite early times. Yeah, I stopped. I used to have Telenet, okay, in Belgium, and I stopped it because first, most of the channels were in Flemish, and I don't speak Flemish. Okay, the good thing of the Flemish channels is that they put all the films in original version, so they don't double anything in the Flemish. So you can still watch the things in. But to be fair, if I want to watch something, I go to internet and I try to find it my way. It's much. Yeah, I like to watch what I wanted when I want it, not when they ask me to watch it. Yeah, if you think that 8 o'clock is late think about Spain. And in Spain, you will start having dinner very late. Yeah, I think when I'm at my so here in Belgium, I changed completely my mindset, and I'm having dinner around 7 to 8. But it's quite late as well for the Belgian people. But it's the time that. But when I'm back to Spain, yeah, normally it's around 9:30, 10 when we are having dinner. Of course, the lunch is about 2 o'clock as well. Okay. If you are early, you go 1 o'clock, but the most common time is between 2 and 3 o'clock in the midday. So yeah, these things on what time we do breakfast and so on can change a lot from country to country. Okay. So yeah, I'm very glad that you were able to join. Yeah, I hear about that. That this was was to be able to match with the shift of the at work, and then everything shift as well when Franco was at the power, and it's still. But no, yeah, everything get used to that. So yeah, even if you try to go to a restaurant before 8 o'clock, it can be challenged. In Barcelona, you start having restaurants that are open almost the whole afternoon because there is a lot of tourists. But before was a challenge. Before Barcelona was so popular. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, yeah, this is. I had to put a little bit more of paint. This whitish paints and especially ivories and the white, you have to be careful. You have to thin it quite well because it's very easy that it's leaving brush strokes. And this is a paint that yeah, they can become very thick. So it's important that you thin it correctly. I'm using just water in that case, and then I just yeah. That way I can have more control that I'm not accumulating too much paint, because one of the most important things is to do thin layers of painting, okay, to avoid to clog any detail. So yeah, I go like that. Sorry, sometimes I'm stop talking. I was because I'm reading as well the messages in the chat, and I'm trying to answer them. And I see that they had two conversations in parallel for a while. Now it's one. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, I try to be careful not to dirten again the blue. One of the big changes for me this year, and a lot of people will get surprised, is I start using more and more the wet palette. Before, I was not even using the wet palette. Maybe 1 year ago, I was painting directly from the pot. Okay, now I changed my mind completely and I start using more and more the wet palette. The wet palette is a great tool to facilitate blendings, okay, and to avoid that you create thick layers. Greens and for whites. Okay, I will look for the Liquitex, and I don't know this. Yeah, Liquitex I know about, but I don't know the other brand. FW Artist inks. The other thing I never use, and I don't know if there is anyone here in the chat that have used it, is oils. I never use oils. And yeah, I'm wondering if I wanted to use them or not. Okay, there are two tools that I never use. One is One is a tool that is the airbrush. I never use it. I don't have it. And the other one is the oils. And yeah, and I never use them. Okay, I see that. Yeah. No, I don't know why I was reticent to use the wet palette, to be fair. I think it's because painting, I started painting when I was 17. So this is 27 years ago. Okay. So yeah, here I see. And then I get used to paint from the pot because nobody was telling you how to paint in that period of time. And I think even the palette, the not regular palette, was not even used. So I never used regular palette to paint. So I never had the need to go to a wet palette. And the first wet palette I did not was not good and was not convenient to use. So at the end, yeah, I was not using it because it was not convenient. When I bought this one, that is the Red Grass wet palette, yeah, it has been quite a change because it's quite nice to do. You have to moisture the palette quite often. At least in my home, I have to moisture the palette quite often because the paints will get dry. Yeah, but I can the paints can survive from one day to the other. Okay, and now I will need to change soon this paper because it's quite messy at this moment. But okay, it's going to be. I still use, of course, the contrast paints. I keep using them directly from the pot. And the inks, I keep using them directly from the pot. So I don't see the need to put them on a palette, to be fair. Okay, this is done. Let's go to the next one. Okay, yeah, here we have some comments from Dave. I have. Yeah, what I do is when I end up painting, okay, or this time I do it at the beginning. I put some water, okay. Today I moisture just before painting because it was quite dry. But normally, yeah, I keep after each painting session, I try to moisture again the wet palette, so to keep it quite wet. Okay, so this is how I keep the. If not, it dries quite. Yeah, it will dry. So I also think when the paints start getting dry on the paper, okay, they start making a barrier against the moisture to go up. And then does not matter that you wet too much because they will, for example, here this paint is almost dry. It's creating a barrier, and then it does not wet anymore the paints on top. So then you need to start changing the paper. Okay. So this is what I noticed after using it. Maybe I have to do another video on wet palette. I can use one of these weekly paintings to talk about the wet palettes and what is my experience, not how to use it because anyone, but what are my experience and what are the tips I'm finding after using it for a while. Yeah, well, here no, it's not hot. Yeah, I get it's not as cold as Canada, Belgium, but it's not hot, no. But the problem is the heating system. It's drying a lot. And Belgium is very humid, but in summer it dries. I think it's mainly because of the now in winter because of the heating system. But outside it's very humid, Belgium. But anyway, it's at the end you have a very flat surface with a lot of moisture, so it's easy that it dries, right? So this is why I think, yeah, it can last hours without drying, but after hours you need to put some additional water to avoid that to be sure that the next day it's still humid and nicely, and you can paint nicely. So yeah, we have a new hi, dedicated gamer. Thanks a lot for joining. Glad to see you here. What's my favorite part of the hobby? Okay, this evolved over time. I have to say, no, today my favorite part of the hobby is painting. Okay, painting is I think it's the most is the part that is for me is it takes most of my time. Okay, and it's my relaxing time. Okay, so I will say hobby, and the second part is gaming. The part I'm doing because you have to do it, but the part is not my. I think the thing I love the most is assembling. Okay, I assembled. I like to assemble. Yeah, it's nothing that I enjoy a lot. Sometimes it's relaxing when I need to do a lot of assembly or when I don't want to be too focused. Assembly can be nice, but I like more painting than assembling. This way, sometimes I don't paint too. The thing I hate is removing mold lines. Okay, I like to assemble, but I hate removing mold lines and joints and putting with stuff to avoid that the joints are visible and so on. So this is the part I don't like it. But painting is the part I enjoy more. Is the part I dedicate more time, and gaming I also still enjoying a lot. Okay, so but I will say, and in the past when I started in the hobby was gaming. Painting was something that you have to do to play, okay, to have a nice looking table. But I will say today is painting, and I like more painting. The thing I enjoy more is maybe painting monsters, okay, and painting characters. And the thing yeah, maybe I don't like that much is painting terrain. So I paint terrain because I like to paint. I like to play on painted tables, fully painted tables with the terrain completely done. But it's not the part I enjoy the most. And doing big squats, it's also something that I don't. I like painting maximum squats of 10. Was a little bit, for example, when I did the Skavens, it was a little bit too much, right? Paint units of 60 Skavens or something like that. It's too much of the same. So normally when I have these super huge units or super, I try to break it in parts. So to do blocks of 10 or maximum blocks of 20 if it's Skaven, for example, and then do something different in between. The other thing you will notice that I jump a lot from army to army or from game to game. And this way I like it a lot, Warhammer Underworlds, because you have so much variety of miniatures that if you like painting, I think it's really nice to do. Now I'm looking forward to paint Blood Bowl soon, because I ordered the new box, and it's on my way. Sorry. So this Christmas I see if I will paint but I will start painting one of the how it's called, the Necromancer ones, because I really like it. So let me see, because I think I missed some of the messages. Yeah. Yeah, I see the comment. I appreciate minutes without more lines. Me too, but sometimes the thing I hate a lot is when you are painting a miniature, you are really focusing on the paint job, and then you realize that you have forgot a mold line in a critical point, and then you have to start cleaning up the mold line. Yeah, and in my last paint job, the mold line was so bad, and I saw it so late that at the end I decided to not do anything. So I leave it. And because it's a miniature that I just painted for tabletop, and to use it, I say, okay, in that case, I will not even take the effort because it's something that I don't enjoy. But yeah, I agree that we have to eliminate them as much as we can because it can destroy your yeah, it looks bad, right? And then if you have done a nice paint job and you have not paid attention on the mold lines, it can be quite painful. I never bought a mold light cleaner. I'm old school, and I keep using fillers, and a cutter. Normally, I use this, not this one. I use the knife. I just use the knife. This I know that this is for new people. This can be dangerous, especially for kids, because yeah, it's easy to cut yourself and it's easy to damage the miniature. Okay, I have damaged some miniatures in the past, but I'm so used to that that I'm keep using that. Maybe I should look for a mold line cleaner. I use it in the mold line cleaner. I use it at my job, and for another reason. Okay, also to remove flashes from plastic parts when I was doing, because I work on the packaging, and I was working a lot on injection molding, and sometimes when I was doing tests, and I use it to remove some mold lines from prototypes. But I use it at work, never on miniatures. So hello Essex Voice. Thanks a lot for joining. So very glad to see so many comments today. Okay. So yeah, I'm lost a little bit talk here. So yes, so my plans for in the channel. So I'm thinking what to do in the next tutorial. I don't know if you were not at the beginning, but I will show it again. This is how it looked like now, the Noise Marine. The light is not the best. I'm still working on the tutorial. As you can see, the arms are not there. Okay, so this is how the Noise Marine is looking like now. The main body is not done. So now I have to do the arms and the guitar. I went for very, very crazy colors on this guy. I really went for, I wanted to give this look of the 80s, but I have all my Noise Marines looking like that. I have all my Noise Marines looking like that. I really get a lot of influence from the 80s. And now I lost the mirror I had on my hands. Wait. Read it. Okay, but I will look for that. Okay, I lost my miniature. I don't understand. Here it is. I dumped it in the first place I wanted. Okay, so yeah, the other thing I have also on my table is I want to do the second phase on the Escher gangbang. Okay, so I think when I'm finished with the Sisters of Battle, this will come. Yeah, but if this is the pants, you have to wait now for the arms. It's going to go in mismatch with the rest. So I will not use black in any part as again what you have done. I'm going to be quite colorful. These are some of the paints I'm using. Okay, so these are the scale 75 fluor paints. You can see even the presentation is very in the 80s style. I only have one problem with these paints. I like scale 75. I use some of them. Okay, I have the skin tones. Okay, this comes with the skin tones. So I bought the skin tone pack. I bought the metals, the silver. I think the silvers are very, very, very good. The fluors, I have a little bit of problem to apply them. They are covering very bad, and they are difficult to how it's called this to apply it. You see very easily the brush strokes, and I applied here on the pans. Okay, so the pink, it's from the scale 75 fluor paint, but I was not convinced how it's working. I will try another of the one colors. I don't know if it's only because of the green was working better, so maybe I will try the green on the arms. But I'm not sold out on the fluors from scale 75. The other paints I'm using, I'm experimenting a little bit. I'm start buying other paints. The other paints I'm using, okay, I bought this. So this one, I like it a lot. Okay, I think I showed it in other videos. So this is it's called miniature paint, directly, MP, miniature paint. Okay, this pot cost me £4. And I bought this in Element Games, so online. So if you buy there, you will be able to find. This one is great to do steels. It's a blue tint steel color, okay? I also bought other colors. I'm still testing them. I bought, then you have these ones that are I think these are £2.50, okay, 2.5 pounds, something like that. And this is, I think, was 30 milliliters. So it's quite a good amount of paint here. And I have to say that these ones are quite transparent. I also bought the gold, and the gold is not working. So I don't think I will use. I'm just bought some of them to test them. Some are good. So this silver is also very nice. This is almost, this is also, again, this is 90 milliliters, okay? 90 milliliters, and it's costing £4, if I'm not wrong. So this almost, if you are from old school, this is the Mitri silver, but in a big pot. So these two I use it a lot. This is why I get encouraged to buy other colors. So I'm still testing them, and I will do a review later on. But some are good, some are not that good. I'm also using the ivory one, and I'm using the white and the black. The white and the black are quite good. The black is a little bit not shiny, but it's a little bit satin. But it's annoying a little bit when that is satin. Okay. The white is quite good. The white is quite decent. I have it here on it's dry, but I have it on my palette. I use it, and it's quite good, the white, but it's also quite transparent. It comes quite thin. I don't know if they are also thinking to go into the airbrush. I don't know, but I wanted to test them because they are very cheap compared to Games Workshop, because you have, I think it's the triple almost, because the Games Workshop pot is what? How much is 12 milliliters, and the other ones are 30, so it's 2.5 approximately, and they are cheaper. So this is why I'm testing them. And maybe I will also start. I use as well Vallejo in the past, and I'm thinking to go back to Vallejo. I was not sold out in Vallejo in the past because they were a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. I was preferring Games Workshop in that moment, and then I was buying mainly in Games Workshop stores, and this was why I keep using Games Workshop. But I'm experimenting more on different brands of paints. And what I never did the step, as I said before, is I never went into oils or artist paint. So I need to also check on that. The other thing I'm using in here in the Brico shops. So Brico is to do some things at home. They are selling spray cans, and I'm testing them on when I'm doing terrain. Okay. They're mainly used for other uses, but I'm also testing different because are much cheaper than the even anyway. For primer, I keep using Games Workshop primer. Okay, let me go back to the messages. Yeah, yeah. Spilling any watch, it's really a pain. Yeah, yeah, I agree. These are very good value. You only need to this the silver and the this is called blue steel. Okay, these two are quite good. I like it a lot, and I'm using them. It's how I did. For example, let me show. I don't know if the integrated camera of the computer is not easy to see that, but it's I use it to do the steel of this sword. Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be so nice to focus. Okay, it gives this blue tint. It looks much bluer on camera than on real life. These are the colors I use in the tutorial to the sword. So if you go back to the video there, you can. I think you can see it better. But these are quite interesting. So and I started using this one because Games Workshop does not have any color like this one. Okay, they don't have any bluish metallized. Okay, and I saw this spot. I say, okay, I can take the risk. So you can. I was thinking I can take the risk of £4 and see if it's working. Okay? Because I didn't know that they were selling smaller pots when I saw them the first time. I just go for what I find. But I'm very happy with this purchase. So I recommend you if you are, if you want to have this bluish tint, because I know that Games Workshop normally when they want to do the shading on the steel, they use blue washes, but they are too strong and they tint too much on blue. So yeah, but I will say that 90% of my paints are Games Workshop. The things that for me are a must to have in any paint collection is Agraxer shade, difficult to paint without this one. I also use a lot, I have another pot next to me, new, Seraphim Sepia. Okay, you can see this is finished. Noon Oil, this one here, a must to have as well for me, and the Raglan Flake shade, because this is for me the best shade for gold. Okay, since I start shading gold with Raglan Flake shade, I stopped using Seraphim Sepia. I was using in the past Seraphim Sepia. So if you want a gold that is not, this does not give the deepness, so a more brownish gold, you go for Seraphim Sepia. But I have the feeling that Raglan Flake shade enriches a lot the gold. It makes more lightful, more interesting. I give a lot of new tonalities to the gold, and this is why I like it. Okay. Then the other things, I think the other thing I start using a lot from Games Workshop is the contrast paints, especially because I'm from the old school when we in the 90s we were priming everything in white, at least when I started. Okay, so I'm very used to work with white prime. And yeah, I use the black prime very little, only when the miniature is really black. But I prefer white prime or ivory prime over black priming. Okay, and if I do black priming, normally what I'm doing is the Zenithal prime. So Zenithal prime, I also have a video if you're interested, but mainly what means is you prime all the miniature. Okay, you take the miniature, imagine this is the one. So you prime all the miniature in black, and then I use spray from 45 degrees from the top. So you enter in this angle, so you create some shading. You do it as well from the different directions. So you create the top whiter than the bottom. And this is how I was using the black prime. So I started using Zenithal priming because this is helping a lot to see details. What I see, the challenge, the advantage of the black prime is that if you miss something, it's not visible, right? Especially if you have something that is very complex to reach the inside of the scape. Okay, if it's black, it's not going to pop up. If it's white, yeah, you will see it from meters away, right? It's very easy to see that you have missed something there. And this is why black is quite convenient at the beginning versus black is quite convenient at the beginning versus white. But I was super used to priming white when I started. So this is why I like a lot the idea of the contrast. The other thing is I tend to prime very light. Okay, and here I realize that I missed the mole line, so I will need to scratch a little bit this one. But you can see my priming, it's not really white. This light, having the light at the back is not helping, but it's greenish. Okay, I always prime very light. And just I have to confess, this lady, when I painted, was not even primed. I primed directly with brush in white on top. Okay. Then I prime the rest because it's easier. The paint is have better grip on prime than without priming. But yeah, and now what I like a lot is the new primers, because I have and the only thing on the white primer, the old Games Workshop primer, is that it gives not rugosity, but it's very yeah, it gives very micro rugosity on the miniature, okay, and makes the paint have more difficulties to spread. Okay, you have to really thin down to help on the spread. This one was on prime with white. The new ones, how it's called this, the Glacier, and the other one is called the Wraithbone, have much thinner particle, and the priming is very, very, very smooth, and it helps a lot on the paint job, and works very well with the contrast paints. I think the contrast paints for people starting with some control, I will recommend contrast paints because they help a lot on the paint job, especially when you just want tabletop finishing. But you also have to be very careful because it's very easy to do a messy work with the contrast paints. Are more difficult to control where they go because they are more they flow much easier. Okay, and they can flow out of the areas where you want to paint. The other important thing on contrast paints is that you have to be careful, because if I have paint this blue, for example, in that miniature, if I have paint the blue in contrast paint, I will not paint the legs after that. I will go to another part, because if they are not fully defined, they will start mixing, and then you create a mess as well. So it's not happening this with regular paints. They will not flow within each other. Okay, and we have to take into account the contrast paints will last a little bit more in the buying. Okay. So, but I will say for me so far, contrast paints are quite good. There are some. You should not use them, and this is another on flat areas. Okay, the contrast paints are working very well where you have a lot of texture. So if it's very flat, it will not do the work. It's like an ink. Okay, and this is another part. For example, clothes, even these clothes that have a lot of wrinkles, and just let me say here to Bogdur before. So thanks a lot for joining, Bogdur. Hello for joining to the live video today. So yes, so this tabard or this cloth, okay, you should consider this as a flat surface, because the wrinkles are so open, so big in some cases, that the ink will just flow down. Okay, there is nothing to stop that. So what I will, when I say a lot of texture, I mean, for example, when you have the hair is a good place to put it. These wings on the shoulder pad, these have a lot of textures. Okay, on these parts it works perfectly. When you have big surfaces and that they have a low rugosity, or they have not too much in detail, the contrast paints and the inks will do the same, will tend to drip down. Okay, and they will do part of the job, but you have to assume that they will they will shade. Okay, it's not that they will not do nothing. They will shade the deep parts, but they will also drip down. Okay, and you have to be careful. Another one thing that I was doing when I have to do this type of very flat surfaces, you apply the ink or the contrast and you leave it flat like that, and then you do the other side and you leave it flat like that. Okay, but don't do it all and put it in vertical because we'll drip down. So if you want to avoid that it's dripping down, leave the miniature in this position. So then it will go inside of the crevices, inside of the folds, and then it will work. This is some, yeah. Okay. Just want to share some tips that I you use. For me, the contrast paints, I think there are companies, they call them intensive ink. I think there's I think it's 75, or I don't know, remember which Wool is doing. I forget now, but I recommend. I will use the same procedure as a wash for the contrast paints. So you have to be careful as well as you are in a wash, and take the same type of carefulness. Okay, let me see. Vallejo White Surface Primer is the #1. I never test Vallejo primers. Okay, and yeah, I need to start looking because a lot of companies in Europe with the new regulations, a lot of companies didn't ship primers, flammable cans anymore. Okay, because all the paint cans are flammable products and are in principle explosive products. So because there is so much regulation in the transport, most of companies, they don't want to ship them anymore, especially from UK to Europe. So yeah, I know Vallejo. I don't know where Vallejo should come from, Spain, I guess. But yeah, I never bought. I need to see if I find a shop here in Belgium where it's selling other primers to be used on the meters. But so far, I'm using the Games Workshop ones. I know that they are very expensive, but they work very well for me. Maybe because I'm using them for long time. Okay, and I'm quite used to them. Okay, let me see. Games Workshop primers are good enough. Yeah, the Corax White, and as what I said, it's a little bit. It gives like a little bit of micro rugosity that makes the paint to slide less easier. Okay, and I don't know it's more difficult to spread the paint. Yes, Seraphon. Yeah, of course. The scale. If you have scales, feathers. Yeah, you want to use contrast paints. One layer and you're almost done. One layer and a very soft dry brushing, you have a very nice tabletop with the contrast paints. I think is yeah, and it's not only for new people painting. I think it's also for people that have experience. It gives you new. It's a new tool, right? And it gives you opportunities to do different things. But to be fair, to do also in contrast paints, I have some of my favorites. Going this one, if you want to do white, highly recommend. Okay, if you're going to do white, this is a great paint. I use it, for example, to shade the shoulder pad there where we have the wings, the hair. Is this one, and then you apply some white on top. Okay, as well, these wings were starting with white, with the Corax white. I have them, not Corax white, sorry, the Apothecary white. So this Apothecary white, I think it's a great one. The next one I would recommend is the Black Templar. Okay, you will not have too much contrast effect with the Black Templar most of the time, but it covers very nicely. and it works very well. One thing that you have to be very careful when using contrast is that where you want to apply the contrast has to be a very clean surface. You have to clean it before applying. It has to be white or cream. If you have, for example, you had a mistake and some of the red slide onto the next color, clean it before applying the contrast. If not, you will have this shade under because they are quite transparent. On black is much less transparent. On the white, you will see this. Okay, it will not work. Then Wilwood. I will recommend Wilwood or what is the other one? Let me see if I find it here. I have a little bit of a mess now on the contrast points. I have to put order to my life. Yeah, I don't find it. It's Wilwood and the other one, because the two are very similar, and I will only recommend to have one Zygor Brown. So these two are very similar, Wildwood and Zygor Brown, and I don't know. Okay, here you have it. So I recommend one of the two. It's an excellent brown, and it works very well. Nice shading. I use it for the bases. I use it for for example, these bases of these ladies is mainly Wilwood and then dry brushing and layers of other paints on top. This stone is the Wilwood at the bottom on it, and then dry brushing on grays. So it's a great color to paint. If you do ghost, okay, if you want to do ghost, the color I use the most is Anihilat Oxide to do ghost effect. Okay, like this working process is not done, but this is Anihilat Oxide on top of white. Okay, and you have quite a nicely ghost effect. Other color that I like a lot is the Skeleton Horde. And here I have another one that I also use. These are quite similar. Okay, I recommend one of the two, or Agarus Dunes. The Agarus Dunes is more sand color. Skeleton Horde is more. It's like the Skeleton Horde is like if we do this cream color that I'm doing, and then you apply Seraphim Sepia. It's like doing them two together. So if you want to if we want to jump one step, this is another one. And then another one that I'm using quite a lot. Yeah, though I don't find it anymore. Yeah, Snake Bite Leather. You apply Snake Bite Leather on top of a silver, and you have a gold shaded, ready to go. Okay, you paint a very bright silver Snake Bite Leather, you have a gold. If you apply on top fire layer on a silver, you have a copper. Okay, so you also can do metallized on with these colors if you use silver as the point to start. Okay. Oh, thanks a lot, Bogdor. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that. Very glad. I hope, yeah. And then I use the colors. The things I'm missing now are the glazes. I was still using glazes. Okay, I have some, but now if you don't have, for example, this glaze, you take this one 50-50 with you need this thing. I forgot the name now. With the contrast prime, okay, 50-50, and you have a glaze. If you I also transform sometimes these ones in washes. Imagine that you have emergency, you don't have other shade. You can take the Wilwood or the Zygor. I will choose the Zygor brown, and you thin it down with the contrast, okay, primer, and then you will manage to have a wash. It's very important if you want to do a wash that you use medium, or you use this one, or you use the old Lamia medium. Okay. If you use water, it will not work well. it will flow strangely. So the surface tension of the water is very different from the surface tension of the primers. And this impacts a lot how the paint spreads. The water tends to regroup, have a very high surface tension. And if you're painting on top of a plastic, or even if there is a little bit of grease, the water will break the paint and will group it in small droplets. The primer, as have the surface tension much lower, will help to spread over the surface. So this is why I recommend a lot to use the contrast mediums. I recommend a lot to use mediums when you want to go for to do a wash or a contrast. You can also do a contrast taking one of these colors. I use it. I did it some. So if you take one of these colors, any layer or layer, or how it's called, the other ones, I don't remember the red ones. I never remember the name. I use them in distinctive, so I don't care. So base or layer, this is called. So you can use any of these colors. You add medium until you have the consistency of the contrast, and then it will work as a contrast. The difficulty is to find the right mixture, right? Because if you go too low in pigment, you will have more of wash than a contrast. Then you do 2 layers and it will work. If you don't do it, I will recommend that you go a little bit over than you are short of thinner. Because if you are short of thinner, it will work like a thin paint and it will not work, okay? So I win also, yeah. This is why I say, so it's not just the contrast that have appeared, it's also the able to play with the ability to play with the medium to also modify the other paints. Sometimes, yeah, I know that in principle, if I have real height, I can do the contrast and I can do the wash. But to be fair, for conveniency, I prefer to have them prepared already. So sometimes it's it's like with the 3 prime colors, you are almost able to do any color that is existing. But to be fair, for convenience, I think it's much easier if you have already the colors, the spot colors that you need, right? The same for the different dilutions. I like to have them. It's saving time, and at the end, if you end up using them, like Ivex Air Shade, I use it so much, makes no sense to avoid not to have it, right? To try to mixture yourself, unless I forgot to buy it or I'm run out, and then I need to I need the wash. Okay, I have done all the likes now. And now I can go to the first one because, of course, the legs are dry. And now I'm going to paint directly from the pot because I'm going to use washes. Okay, so what I'm doing is to prepare the miniatures to be able to glue it, because I'm just doing that because I want to glue them on the base. Okay, so I go back to the first one. The first one is completely dry, nice green color, light. So now what I will do, and here is where I need, yeah, this is over. Because I need to apply, do so much. I take, as I said, I always, for the main colors, I always like to have a second pot. You have to shake it very well. In some cases, I like to put, let me see, liquid plastic medium just holds. I never use, this is another thing I have to buy, flow improver. I always forget to order this. Yeah, who really knows what is inside? I can tell you that yeah, when I tried to do this and dilute just with the contrast medium, Yeah, it's not perfect, but it works quite well. Okay, but at the end, I end up buying one pot of each color of the medium because I don't want to spend too much time making mixtures and so on. And the mediums, yeah, when I'm using, if you want to use contrast and you don't want to use it directly from the pot, you need to use you have to use a regular palette. You should not put them in a wet palette because they will disappear. Okay, so it will not work. Well, at least I will not recommend. Another thing that is important: metallics. Metallics is better to thin down with medium, because metallics you have to keep the metal particles in suspension inside of the liquid, and the water is not working. Okay, so medium is helping on that. Normally, if you start applying too much water on metallics, you will break. It's called breaking. You will break the pigment. Means that the medium and the pigment will start separating, and they will not flow nicely. Okay, they will make strange effects. So this is why I will say try to use medium on metallics. Okay, there. Yeah, metallics have it's I think it's one of the most difficult ones to use. Especially the ones from Games Workshop are a little bit too thick, and it's difficult to control how the metallics are applied. They flow differently from the rest of the paints, and this is why a lot of people tends to go for non-metallic metals a lot of time. Okay. Yeah, and there are some colors like I also recommend a lot Iron Breaker. I like it a lot, and as I said at the beginning, for me these two paints are working very nicely. Okay, the All Midville Silver was one of the best metallics ever, and I don't know why, because the Romfang still is not good enough, and the Stonehorse Silver is not nice. The pigment, I find the pigment too big. Okay, these ones I show is quite nice. The scale 75 metallics are very thin down, are very transparent. So they are sometimes difficult to apply as well. I'm still getting used to the scale 75, but it's not a paint that is easy to use. It looks like that comes very thin. And also have some more mold flow improver, sorry. And this white and some retardant. And this is why the scale 75 sometimes are not easy to use. You have to get used to that, and are quite different from the Games Workshop paints. I think the ones that are most, if you are used to Games Workshop, the ones that are closest to Games Workshop is Vallejo. In English, we call it Vallejo. Okay, so these are the ones that are the closest. Model Color is quite a good paint. I think Vallejo paints are quite. Yeah, we arrived to the same as the same as dedicated as Vallejo metal colors are quite good. Yeah, I agree. Okay, Games Workshop. I think from Games Workshop, the ones I like a lot is Retributor Armor for gold. I think it's a very good one. It solves all problems we had with gold, that you have to put brown before applying gold because they were very transparent. I think Retributor Armor solved this problem. If you want the Balthasar gold, I think it's called the dark one. It's not really gold. We call it gold, but it's a cooperish bronze color. And then the other one is Iron Breaker. And then if I have to use other colors, I go out or I use it very little. But I was using a scale 75 or the ones that I shared before. Okay. And I think I missed some comments before, but yeah, metallics is quite a tricky one, and having a good metallic is very important. Okay. Yeah, I have to test the mold flow improver in the future. Yeah. Okay. I will need to buy, because I have here some very old Vallejo paints. So this is it's called this is oily steel. Okay. So on scale 75, the one I use it a lot is speed metal. This is a heavy metal, so they put names of this is thrash metal. This is quite. This is the speed metal. Okay, it's very similar. The speed metal is very similar to the old metal. Let me see if I. Okay, you can see better, maybe better the color like that, because the bottle is not completely is whitish, is whitening the color. Okay, so with the scale 75, on some paints I'm good, on others I'm not that good. They're a little bit too transparent sometimes. Also depends a lot on the painting style of everybody. But I will not, for example, for a new for a beginner, I will not recommend scale 75. I think they are looking more for people that have experience in painting. I think some of the best paints to start painting miniatures, I think it's Model Color Vallejo for miniatures. And the metallics of Vallejo are very, very good. And it's not only me saying that. Then, yeah, but I can understand metallics are a little bit more difficult to highlight. Okay, they are more difficult to work with. They have the metallic component, and they have their own bright things. They make more a little bit more difficult to work with. One thing that I tried and I will not recommend. Maybe other people have different experience, but I will not recommend from my point of view, is to use the gloss. Let me close this. I don't want to cause an accident here because I want to take something from here. I also bought these ones. Okay, you can see these are gloss, and they were sold in a principle to help on your metallics. Okay, I will not recommend that. It looks wet, not metallic. It's too shiny, and I don't think it's selling because what happens is also the crevices gets very shiny, and it's not working. So yeah, let me see. I will go a little bit. Vallejo gunmetal is fantastic. Okay, this is good to know. I need to go more to the Vallejo. Vallejo paints. Yeah, some paints on the can have better coverage. Yeah, I agree. Lead Belcher, I don't use it too much. I use mainly Iron Breaker. I find Lead Belcher to be too dark for my taste. And as I said, the silvers of Games Workshop, they have the pigment too big, the metallic particles too big. I bought them to test it. Okay. I just wanted to buy the gloss paints I use them for, you know what I use this for? If you're using if you want to do oil stains, for example, imagine a machine rippling oil, this is perfect. It will give you the sensation that oil is dripping from the joints or something like that. You can use this one as an oil. And when I do Necromunda bases or bases that are in a city environment, okay, let me see if I have. Okay, I don't know if you will be able to see it on the camera, but you can see that it's shiny inside of like if it's oily in the. Maybe it's going to be difficult. This is why I use the non-oil gloss. Okay, to do like oily type of residues, but it's not working to make the metal effect. Okay, let me see. This one can be more visible. Yeah, the light is let me see if I can move this a little bit. Oh, no, it's too much light. Sorry for that. Yeah, see if I can. But what I use it to, I make a video I think in the past showing to use the Noon oil gloss to make oil stains on the base. Okay, let me see. And this is how it works. Okay, so this is how I use it. But to be fair, I bought the 3 pots just to experiment with them. I still need to find the use for the other 2. Okay, because you also have the air shade. Yeah, this can be also an oily thing, but the one that I don't know what to do with is the Reglan Flay Shade gloss, unless you want to make a sweaty guy, right? Because it's very bright. It does not sell the sensation of metal, because it gives the sensation of shiny, not metallic, and it's not what you are looking for. Okay, so but the Noon oil, yeah, I use it for that. To do this type of. Also, if you do, for example, tanks, if the engine is showing, or maybe on the wheels where you can have oily residue, you can have grease there. Okay, then you can put a little bit of that to show the sensation that there is some oily thing there, right? To make a little bit of oil effect, but not to do metallics. Okay, because it gives this sensation, gives more the sensation of oily, of dirty, of that is there is water or something like that, a liquid, than more than a sensation of a metallic. Okay, so yeah, but I just bought them when they were released to experiment, and you can see with one pot you have more than enough. If you don't have the gloss, the other way to do a little bit of oily effect is using gloss varnish on top, but it's going to be more difficult. I would recommend, if you want to do this type of oily things, use a non-oil gloss. But that's all. I will not recommend the Agrafer shade gloss. I will not recommend the Reglan Flay Shade gloss. I don't think they have any interesting use today. If I find something, I will share it in the channel. But to be fair, and the other color I want to experiment now with, I bought it and I need to check what to do, is this one. That you can see it separates very easily the pigment, so you have to shake it very well when I'm going to use. There is even 3 layers in this paint. You have the top layer with a type of thinner, then you have the medium layer that have one color, and then you have the bottom layer with all the pigment. So this one, you really need to shake it. It's not a stable mixture. And yeah, and I guess you cannot put it on a palette because it's too. I need to test how this works. So yeah. So yeah, I think if you don't mind, I think I will stop the video here. It's 1:30 here in Belgium, and yeah, I'm a little bit tired. So let me take this out because it's also hot in my eyes. Yeah, having this for a long time, it's hot in here. So I hope you have enjoyed the live today. I try to share with you some tips and time as I'm painting, and yeah, and if you join in the future, don't hesitate to make questions, as Dave and all of you have made today. So I'm really enjoying interacting with you. I really like these live videos, and I hope to see you in the future. So I will try to keep doing them late on Saturday night, because it's when yeah, my kids are in bed, and I can have a quiet moment here where I'm painting without background noises, and it's easier for me to pay attention to the live. So I want to thank all of you that have joined this live. Thanks a lot for keep supporting my channel just by viewing and joining and yeah, and if you can share and yeah, and that's all for now. So thanks a lot and see you again later. Okay, bye.